Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So, at this funeral, Sant Ji looks towards the skies and he asks for guidance from his brother Baba Deep Singh Ji, from his father Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji. And he says, what do I do in the face of all this tyranny? I'm looking at 13 of my brothers who were shaheed. Countless people are here and they're hit for 6, they don't know what to do. I am the leader of your Taksar. I am the Saint General of your Taksar. What do I do? And Sant Ji is given guidance by Guru Maharaj to say, look towards the Akal Takht. Look towards that thing I built so many hundreds of years ago and look at the reason why it's built. Your Akal Takht is there so that you know that you are free. You know that this is where I can get my spiritual and my physical guidance from. In times of danger, in times of tyranny, this is going to be our parliament. This is what's going to regulate us. This is what's going to empower us. This is what's going to give us strength. And Sant Ji does exactly that. So many people, hundreds upon thousands of people, start looking towards Sant Ji because in his speeches, they see some honesty, they see some love, they see compassion, and finally, they see somebody who can take their pain away. And what do these people do? They flock in their hundreds to Sant Ji with their problems. But who does Sant Ji look to for guidance? Okay, he's got hundreds of thousands of people in Punjab, or even outside of Punjab, saying, Sant Ji, please help us. You seem like somebody who can do something for us. But who does Sant Ji look to for guidance? To our gurus. And those gurus tell him that our religion was created to be free. And you've got to carry that legacy on. So when all these people are coming to Sant Ji, what kind of problems are they bringing? Now look at it in your own way, yeah? In your own society. Somebody comes to Sant Ji and says, in my village, a girl was stripped naked, her father was stripped naked, and they were forced to have sexual relations. By who? By some depraved, psychotic bandits? No. By the police. By the army. The people who are supposed to stop these kind of things, they were doing it. Other people come. A Granthi comes to see Sant Ji and says, Sant Ji, somebody arrested me. I was doing my Gurbani, I had my Gatran, I had my Kakaran, I was walking around doing my normal duties. All of a sudden they pick me up, the police, take me to a police station, forcibly shave my beard off and put tobacco in my mouth. There's another problem. People coming saying the army, Hindu, fascist organizations like the Hindu Suraksha Samiti, they're coming and they are burning Guru Granth Sahib Ji. They're throwing Guru Granth Sahib Ji into cow manure. They're throwing Guru Granth Sahib Ji into wells. Sant Ji listens to these problems. And he's moved, he's shaken. So he says, right, it's time for retribution. If the police and the politicians and the army and the state, the government, if these people are organizing this, then we have to find our own solutions. So what does Sant Ji do to people? What does he say to these poor, innocent, downtrodden people? If anything happens to you, then make a note of the police officer who's done it. His name, his badge number, his rank. If an army guy does it, do the same. And come and tell us. But don't think you're going to get any justice from these corrupt, tyrannical courts. Come to Guru Har Gobind Sahib's court and ask for justice there. It wasn't just Sikh people that Sant Ji was fighting for. It wasn't just Sikh people that Sant Ji was helping. It was anybody who was facing injustice, anybody who felt downtrodden. So they were living by Guru Nanak Dev Ji's message of Sarbat da Bhala. They were living by Guru Gobind Singh Ji's message of being a universal saint soldier, not just for yourself or for your own community, but for the whole of humanity. Now what was the proof of this? Many Hindus, now we are told that Sant Ji was against Hindus and the whole episode in our history was Sikhs against Hindus, but this is probably one of the most successful media campaigns of the Indian government to make it seem as if we were against a particular type of community or Sant Ji was against them, whereas this could be further from the truth. Now many Hindu families went to Sant Ji with their problems, and a particularly poignant example is of a Hindu girl who came from a poor family. She had no father, and as we know, dowry is a massive problem in our culture. Dowry was a massive problem then as well. Nothing has changed. This girl was married into a Hindu family, but they kept demanding scooters and tractors and more money, but she had nothing to give. Her mom had nothing to give, so she used to get tortured. She then heard that everybody said that there's a new saint who's sitting on the same seat as Baba Deep Singh Ji of the Damdam Diksar. Now if you go to him, his name is Sant Janay Singh Pindranwale, he can sort your problems out. So she goes along. She tells Santaji what's happening to her. Santaji summons her in-laws and calls them. He puts a tray in front of her family of money and gold, and he says, "This girl is my daughter, I am her father, take what you wish." Feeling so ashamed, this Hindu family fall to their knees and beg for forgiveness. Another example, Pandit Bihari Lal. He sacrificed so many members of his family because he believed in Santaji's cause. He believed in the fact that we need equal rights for everybody. And even family members of mine who've been to Punjab, they've told me that they've sat in a taxi of a man who was a Hindu, but he had a picture like this in his car. And they asked him, "Why have you got this picture?" And he said, "Because this is my Ram. This was my savior. This is the man who saved so many people." This was the caliber of Sant Pindranwale. They could have sat on their laurels, done a few Katha programs here and there, gone to England, gone to Canada, like many of our Babbe do, and lived a pretty cushy life. But because they were so immersed in Gurbani, because they were blessed so much, because they constantly looked towards the Gurus for guidance, they couldn't sit and watch these things happen. So they bring power back to the people. They bring power back to Sri Akal Takht Sahib. They tell people, don't go to these courts that are run by your murderers. You will get no justice from there. If you need justice, come to Sri Akal Takht Sahib. They even start telling people in your pens, if you have problems, you organize, you find solutions to your problems with 5 people, with a panchayat. If those panchayat don't sort the problem out, then we will give you Panj Pyare. If those Panj Pyare don't sort any domestic issues that you've got, then you will come to the Supreme Court. What was the Supreme Court? Sri Akal Takht Sahib. Now we are all praising now by Balwant Singh Ji Rajoana, because we are saying how amazing is it that a man has restored all the power back to Sri Akal Takht Sahib, or he's trying to wake us up to say, look, Delhi's not your takht is Akal Takht, the Waheguru's takht. That's where you look for your guidance. Santaji was doing that almost 30 years ago. Only now are people recognizing what Santaji had created back then. So look at the judicial system that Santaji had created. Santaji wasn't just a preacher. Santaji wasn't just somebody who was immersed in Gurbani and Dankatha. They were sharp. They were politically astute. They could see into the future and know what was going to happen to us. And how would they safeguard us? By turning Sri Akal Takht Sahib into what it should have been, a parliament and a fortress. Now the government get completely alarmed at the fact that somebody like Sant Janay Singh is bringing power back to the Akal Takht. They've got their own magistrate system, they've got their own Supreme Court going. They start thinking to themselves, not many cases are going through Punjab's court system, they're all going through Sri Akal Takht Sahib. So if they coin their own currency, they're running their own country. So already the government who had been manoeuvring against Sikhs, Sikhi, Punjab and Panjabis are becoming increasingly alarmed that these Sikhs now are running their own affairs. So already a grand scheme is being hatched. How do we strike a blow at these people? But that's something we're going to cover in a little while. So Santaji starts sorting everybody's problems out, and as they can see the situation growing worse and worse and worse, and how Gursikhi is being attacked on a daily basis, people who wear pagga, people who wear gatre, they're being taken forcibly. Now Santaji used to highlight these in many speeches. You can listen to all the speeches on YouTube, listen to what Santaji is saying. And if you think these are the words of somebody who's a Sikh and who is biased, then I implore you to read the Amnesty International report on violation of human rights in Punjab in 1983, where they categorically state that people of a particular group, of a particular community and religion belonging to the Sikh faith are routinely harassed by the police, are tortured, and their women are raped and their scriptures are burned. This is in an Amnesty International report. So this is for those people who think that we're being biased or Santaji is being biased. Read this report and you'll see what Santaji was bringing to the fore, what kind of issues they were bringing. So Santaji also, knowing that there's such a tirade against our religion, they know that we need to keep our religion alive. How do we do that? They asked one of their closest associates, one of their most loving companions, Bhai Amrik Singh Ji, make them the head of an organisation called the Sikh Students Federation. And what did they ask Bhai Amrik Singh Ji to do? To do stuff that a lot of the people who are watching this do. Sikhi camps, Gurmat camps, in Gurdwara, getting the youngsters in and just telling them who the 10 Gurus are, who the Panj Pyare are, who the 4 sons of Guru Gobind Singh Ji were, basics of Sikhi across Punjab. And Bhai Amrik Singh organises many Sikhi camps, just like you guys do. You guys may even attend them. But for organising these Sikhi camps, Bhai Amrik Singh Ji is labelled as a terrorist. So in July 1982, Bhai Amrik Singh, along with Baba Tara Singh, is arrested by the police because of these Sikhi camps. Now realising, Sant Bhindranwale realising that the arrest of Bhai Amrik Singh and Baba Tara Singh, that this is another way of the government telling us that we are slaves here and that we have no place, Sant Bhindranwale does 2 things. One, he initiates a dynamic resistance in the form of a Dharam Yudh Morcha, which is a religious agitation. Now that Dharam Yudh Morcha was calling for Bhai Amrik Singh's release, for Baba Tara Singh's release, for people to be safeguarded, for people to protect themselves. And the other thing that Santaji done was they stepped up their Amrit Prachar, so that the people, not only do they look to me for guidance, but we can empower them, so they look to the Guru for guidance. So that even if I'm not here, they can protect themselves, they can look after each other, and they can keep their Sikhi alive. And how do they step up their Amrit Prachar? They go to village to village to village, and they don't just preach, but they hit people's hearts with their words. They don't just have Sikhi in a book, they bring Sikhi to life. They show people the beauty of it. They tell people like me, keep your beard intact, keep your hair intact. You know, they're telling people, refrain from alcohol, refrain from drugs. And for this, Santaji was labelled as an even bigger terrorist. So in this agitation, the Akalis, who were apparently representing Sikh interests, they join Santaji because they can see this tidal wave that he's creating. So they bring the Anandpur Sahib resolution, which talked about greater autonomy for Punjab with regards to water, electricity, managing their own affairs, changing India's constitution so that we recognise the Sikhs. They bring all that together into one Dharam Yudh Morcha, into one religious agitation, which is headed by Sant Janai Singh Bhindranwale. Now, the government throw even more brutality at Punjab, at Santaji and the people of Punjab. Now, there are many cases of brutality and just horrifying violence. Now, I implore everybody who's watching this to do your own research. Look into Amnesty International's report of 1983, look into Ram Narayan's book Reduced to Ashes, and just see how Sikhs were being treated at that time. And the only saviour, the only beacon of light that shone to illuminate Guru Nanak Dev Ji's message, that it's better to die on your feet than live on your knees. And through this Amrit Prachar, many thousands of people, they gave up their intoxicants. Farmers who would be addicted to drugs, they came towards the path of Sikhi. Women, children. There was a Sikh Renaissance movement that was going on with Santaji. Now, in April 84, as many as 45,000 people had taken Amrit. April 1984, literally a month or two away before Operation Blue Star. The government would tell us, and many of our own people, that Santaji was leading a marginal movement, a small movement. 45,000 people in 1 month took Amrit. This is what was getting to the government. This is what they thought we had to put a stop to. Sikhs becoming Sikhs, living like Sikhs. Now through this agitation, Bhai Amrit Singh Ji is released and even more Sikhi camps take place. What do the government do? They intensify the brutality. How do they do that? Through the police arbitrarily picking up young men and young girls, and where they were doing it in hundreds, now they were doing it in thousands. And Sant Ji again stood like a rock and absorbed everybody's pain and delivered some of his own to the perpetrators. Now another wing of the government's brutality was to trash the Sikh faith in the media, in books, in magazines, in history lessons at school. And one of the ways they did this was through a guy called Lala Jagat Narayan, who was the editor of a Hindu newspaper, the Hind Samachar. Now in this newspaper, Lala Jagat Narayan used to write the most blasphemous, disgusting things about our beloved Gurus. He used to trash Guru Gobind Singh Ji. He used to say that he was a misguided man who fought for himself, he didn't fight for other people, Sikhi as a religion doesn't make any sense. And he'd say things that even I wouldn't want to repeat. Now, even if we look in today's era, somebody, look at the Muslim community, if somebody says, I want to draw a picture of the Prophet Muhammad, it may not even be something that's going to be bad or negative. Everybody gets together and say, no, this is blasphemous, you can't do this. People get boycotted, there's threats made. This guy was actually trashing our beloved Gurus, the Gurus who liberated that country. Now, even as individuals ourselves, if somebody's writing these things, we will tackle that issue. We will want to know why this is happening. Now, Lala Jagat Narayan, for the things that he was doing, he was brought to justice by one of Guru Sikhs. But the person who was implicated in this was Sant Janel Singh Khalsa Bhindranwale. Now, in 1982, Sant Ji was arrested on suspicion of murdering Lala Jagat Narayan. Now, but what galled the Sikh community was, in 1978, Gurbachan, the leader of the Nirankaris, openly led a procession that led to the death of 13 innocent Sikhs. And he was acquitted and he was given a safe passage out of Punjab. Nobody was implicated, even though everybody said, this is the guy who done it, this is the guy who organised it, nothing happened to him. Sant Janel Singh wasn't linked to Lala Jagat Narayan, but even after his murder, he's arrested. So this was the difference of how a state-sponsored organisation is treated and how the Sikh religion is treated. Sant Ji is taken. Now, a lot of the Sangat loved Sant Ji, so they started a protest. In that protest, 11 people were shot dead by the police. This is while Sant Ji was being arrested. Now, Sant Ji's buses, which contained many Sikh scriptures, they were burnt by the police out of spite and to insult us even more. Sant Ji is arrested and taken to court. Now look at the sharpness of Sant Janel Singh. He's not your normal Baba who eats langar and does a bit of katha. This is a sharp individual who's in tune with Sikhi and he's in tune with the politics of the time. He's standing in court, accused of Lala Jagat Narayan's murder, and they bring a Gurkha Sahib to Sant Ji and say, put your hand on this and promise to tell the truth. Sant Bhindranwale says, take this Gurkha Sahib away please and bring me a copy of the Gita. I'll put my hand on that and promise to tell the truth. The court then say, but you're a Sikh, you have to put your hand on the Gurkha Sahib. And Sant Ji says, where in the constitution of India am I recognized as a Sikh? Change that constitution, Article 25, that classifies me as a Hindu, and I will quite happily put my hand on the Gurkha Sahib. The judge had nothing to say. This was the sharpness of Sant Ji. A barrister who came to see Sant Ji. He came to see Sant Ji and he was talking about the issues of the time. And Sant Janel Singh asked him, how many countries are there in the world? The barrister said 117 nations. And Sant said, if 118th is created, what calamity will be caused to the world if we are recognized as a Sikh nation? The barrister had no word to say. Sant Ji further probes him and said in Article 25, Jains, Buddhists and Sikhs are named as Hindus. If we are Hindus, then what need is there to name us separately? If you name us separately, surely you have to recognize that we are a separate nation. Now this barrister who charges thousands of rupees an hour had no answer. This is what the government was scared of. Finally, somebody with articulation, with intelligence, with professionalism, with dignity and honor was asking questions that didn't make sense to the Indian government. They were so blinded by their brutality that they couldn't see a man who's asking these intelligent questions. We've got no answers for him. What do? We'll send in our police, we'll send in our army to deal with that, because we can't answer those questions. And Sant, because he had done absolutely nothing wrong, was acquitted without any charge. They had to acquit Sant without any charge. But the government was still incensed that this man is galvanizing the whole of Punjab and asking for their rights. So what did they do? They step up the harassment and brutality on the Sikhs. And a glaring example of this, I mean there's many examples, and I implore everybody to do their own research, but a glaring example of this is the Asian Games of 1982 that were held in Delhi. No Sikh was allowed to attend those games. Just like the games in Germany, where no Jew was allowed to attend, the same in 1982, no Sikh was allowed to attend the Asian Games in Delhi. Personification of pure fascism and racism. And what did they do? They start maneuvering against Sikhs in the army and the police. Now, a perfect example of this is somebody called General Subhaig Singh. General Subhaig Singh was given an award and medals of honor for single-handedly beating Bangladesh in the Indo-Bangladesh War. He was seen as a war hero. But because of the maneuvering against the Sikhs in Punjab and the Sikhs waking up, General Subhaig Singh started waking up. And they saw people like General Subhaig Singh as a real threat. So what did they do to somebody like General Subhaig Singh, who won the war for them against Bangladesh? They dismiss him from the army in a disgraceful way by trying to say he stole a jeep from the Indian army and that he was using his land in an illegal way, his army land. So General Subhaig Singh thinks, how can I be treated this way when I fought tooth and nail for this country? And he sees an even bigger general, a more amazing general, a more powerful general who seems to be radiating justice and humanity for everybody. Sant Singh Pindrawale. General Subhaig Singh, a high-ranking general of the Indian Army, joins Santji, along with thousands of other police officers and army officials who were being treated so disgracefully and being dismissed from their posts simply because they belong to the Sikh faith. Now, in this backdrop, Santji is taking everyone's pain and is raising his voice to the government to say, we are no longer going to accept this. Our resistance will push all your evil back. And what was the government's response? To mobilize their entire army and police and get ready for Punjab. Get ready for the poor people of Punjab with their tanks and their guns. In the face of this, in the face of these dark clouds that were looming over Punjab and the hell that was unleashed on the people of Punjab, there stood a leader who took everybody's pain away. Now I just want to read a little extract of something that really hit me on a personal note. Because after reading this, I thought, what kind of leader is this? What kind of general is this? I just want to read this extract so you get a flavour of how safe the people of Punjab felt. This is Sant Pindrawale addressing the Sangat during Katha at a Gurdwara in 1983, and it's a small translation. I humbly urge you at your feet that if the time ever arises and you come to learn that I have drunk the nectar of martyrdom, I will only consider that I have your love, friendship and true faith if you all raise 5 slogans of victory. No one is to cry, sadden their face, nor is anyone to sigh with grief. However, I urge you all to sit and weep if the government capture me and beat me senseless in their cells, burn me with their flaming pincers, break my bones, and then compel my head to bow at their feet. On that day, all of you may cry and say, Pindrawale, We thought you would do something, now we have to weep at your life too, a life that has stooped so low. But if I sacrifice myself for the nation, then not a single person should shed a tear. I put myself in Punjab in the 1980s, in a situation where I'm walking around, and because I'm a Sikh, I'm being harassed by the police and the army. My mother's being harassed, sexually assaulted, my sister is being sexually assaulted, my Gurdwara are being attacked, my father's turban is being taken off by the police and the army. The politicians who are supposed to protect us are maneuvering against us. But then I hear these words from this man, and I know I would feel safe. And that's how the people of Punjab felt. They felt safe. They felt safe with his companionship. They felt safe under his wing. But there was a price to pay. There was a price to pay. And General Brar, who led the attack on Harmandir Sahib during Operation Blue Star, before the attack he went to visit the Deputy Commissioner of Amritsar in April 1984, and he conveyed his plans to him. He said, I plan to attack Harmandir Sahib and I want BHINDRANWALE. The Deputy Commissioner said, he's not easy to catch. He's a solid man. Even if I don't agree with his ideology because I am indoctrinated into Brahmanwad fascist ideology, he's a solid man. General Brar said, when tanks rattle and planes roar, even generals quake in their boots. What they didn't realize, this wasn't some ordinary general in a man-made army. This was a general in Guru Gobind Singh's army.